And the chant that we just did is incredibly profound. And it's not about a teacher or a student, but each individual, ourselves, that there is a jewel that you inherently possess that's closer than you can ever think, that's within yourself. It's incredibly profound. And it takes lots of training. Things that we don't like to do: discipline, cultivation, practicing, to reverse the karmic trend that we're going towards. I remember Thich Nhat Hanh, I used to say that we have to look at our suffering, and I didn't like him to say that because I didn't want to. I said I don't have any suffering, but when you start looking deeply, everyone has suffering, and it's like, you know, ending the war that's not out there but in the mind before it begins. It's almost too late when it's out there because it starts from here, from basic or greed, anger, and ignorance. That's just part of the path to resolve greed, anger, and ignorance. But that still is not the completion of the self. Buddha's knowledge is the completion of the self. But then it has to be trained, and so whatever we see or is conscious of has a deeper meaning than what we see on your surface or what you think you see, because everything you think you see or is conscious of is a delusion. I was always puzzled by why the Buddha Dharma says that everything you see is delusion. It's not real. And of course, you know, here's the table, the lectern, the floor. Sure, that's real. But those are only objects outside of yourself. Anyway, the unity of the subject and object, this subject and the objective world has to be dissolved. It becomes dissolved, and then that's reality. But actually, you've already seen it, you've already experienced it, but yet you still have to realize it. It's not outside yourself, it's within your inherent being. That's the wonder of it. I just say maybe a few more things. We had the Rohatsu, the all-night sitting. And why does anybody want to sit all night? But it's in commemoration to Buddha's awakening. Of course, he had practiced, trained and practiced. Let's just look at the word training and practice. Actually, it's a big mistake because I met this a young Chinese woman, and her name was Shugyo. Shugyo. And that's the Japanese word for practice. And people in Zen use the word practice, but it's very misunderstood. What are you practicing? Well, I'm practicing Zen, but that's hardly an explanation or even an experience of what practice actually is. So shu means it means a practice and realization of your inherent self coexist. They're one. When you practice or train, it is realization. But yet you are still to realize it. That's all it is. It's happening all the time, but yet you are still to realize it. So shu is discipline or completion of the self. Shu. Gyo is the cultivation, the training, the discipline, the conduct of that completion of the self. So practice means realization, but realization means Buddhist knowledge, the realization of Buddhist knowledge. So I just, before we go on together, I discovered there are like 5, a little bit more practices or trainings that Sasaki Roshi wrote down in a small book, Tathagata Zen, about Tathagata Zen. So the first one is Shugyo, and I've already mentioned the misuse of the word Shugyo. The second is Shushu. Shushu means unifying the scattered mind. That's what you're doing in meditation. Zen meditation is unifying your scattered mind. And you can you can all experience it very easily by trying to concentrate and see how long you can concentrate. Not very long. You said because you want you to be quiet or calm, the opposite happens. You can't. Your concentration or focus is very shallow, and it needs training because all these other years that you've lived is the training of the opposite. An unfocused mind. Well, I will go into the details of unfocused mind, but shushu means unifying the scattered mind. Okay? And there's also jishu. Now, jishu, most Zen people studying Zen do not apply this. And it took me, myself, years of application. Okay, so we have a ritual in eating. It's called oryoki, and it's ritualistic eating with a limited amount of bowls and utensils. And the meaning of oryoki is just the right amount. What is just the right amount for you? Too much, too little, not enough. Just the right amount. But in using or being used by the utensils and bowls, you begin to dissolve the distinction between subject and object. This is the practice and training of oryoki, eating ritualistically. But I think what happens is we do not have any idea that this ritual applies to all ritual. Every action you do in your everyday life is actually a ritual. You become one with as the subject to the object. And these objects have a life in themselves. They give you life as well as we give it life. It goes both ways, not just one way. So that we could apply this anywhere, these movements, anywhere you go. See how quick you move. Slow it down. Pause for a minute and see what happens. Take yourself out of the pattern, the rushing pattern of quickness. Or when you're quick, be quick. Be wholeheartedly quick, but know you're going quick. Okay, so that's Jishu Shurin. Shurin, the metaphor is like a blacksmith when he or she hammers a hot piece of metal. And it only works when it hits on one spot. The others are extra. It only shapes itself when it's struck on one spot. Only on one spot. That's Shurin, the metaphor of the blacksmith. The third one is Shuyo. Shuyo is it's the practice or training of helping someone. Like if you're a parent, your child, your son or daughter, nurturing someone. Could even be animal, anything, but you're helping. You have to help, you help someone naturally. And I think that's it. Jishu was the oryoki and practical application. Shurin is the blacksmith metaphor. Shuyo is nurturing someone as a parent. And Shushu is unifying the scattering mind. So that's just a slight explanation of what Shugyo, the common misuse of the word practice of journey. But actually, if you're actually practicing, meaning losing the identity of yourself in the action, practice, or training, you are realized, you are liberated from yourself. But yet, you are still yet to realize it. You've done it 1,000 times already, but yet you still need to realize it, or a teacher has to point it out. Okay, so much of so much of my talking. Yeah, we were gonna do this together, but anyway, we're all kind of improvising today. Oh, maybe someone has some questions about practice. It's interesting. Practice, the practice, but the practice is the subject, and the object is the realization of yourself. But that's the distinction. I'm going to be calm and quiet, but the misunderstanding is that you are already, no matter what you think, calm and quiet. That's your original self. So, within darkness, there's light. Like in the whole world right now, what's going on. Within darkness, there's light. There always is light. Because if it wasn't so, the whole universe would collapse. One is within the other, subject and object. One contains the other. They are not just in opposition, they coexist. Okay?
So are practice and training the same thing?
Say it again.
Practice and training the same thing?
Same thing.
Same thing.
And what it means is completion of the self. You're liberated from the idea of who you think you are. Because who you think you are is the bondage, is the limit of yourself. The subject and object duality, again, which causes suffering. We dissolve the duality or the opposition, the dichotomy, the dualism. That's unifying the scattered mind. Yes.
So in the awakening is the awareness.
Awakening is pure awareness.
I mean, I don't think we should get out there too far because it all has to do with actually these points that Roshi mentioned. It all has to do with actually coming back to your mat, to your mat and sitting actually zazen. The posture of zazen actually includes all of it. So awakening, yeah, you could call it awakening. We're coming back to your life. I mean, as it is. But it is kind of interesting because what brings us also here is our greed, anger, and ignorance. You know, so it's hard also to distinguish what is greed, anger, and ignorance when we come to the mat. But we can label it, you know, I came here to do this, or I'm going to let go now. But to really let go, one has to come back over and over and again. You know, and then actually just aim at the posture of zazen. Whether you call it practice, whether you call it greed, anger, and ignorance, whether you call it I'm learning about meditation, but you let all that go. And at the same time, then there's something that comes up within that's not contrived or not we can call Zen. So I think this morning we're somebody emailed, it was Gosha, she emailed about a service, to do a service this morning. And that was like 3 or 4 days ago.
Yeah.
And so Roshi said, yeah, Nyoze, you remember you do a service on, you know, Saturday morning. So I came in, you know, and to make a long story short, I'm flying out to Denmark, and I'm trying to get everything, you know, squared away. So I'm rushing, right? So I sat down, you know, take this great seated posture, and then I forgot. Okay, so what do you do when you forget? Okay, so then I walked to the office, you know, printed the thing out, and then I found myself rushing back, and it was interesting because December the 8th, you know, it's been fairly warm. The weather has been fairly warm, but the December 8th is usually a very crisp, you know, and that started actually yesterday. And so I said, Nyoze, stop. And that's actually what the Buddha did. That's actually what we are doing is stop. And I looked up at the sky and saw actually the clearness of the sky. But it can happen in many ways, you know, the practice. But I think the most important thing is actually to practice to sit down, to sit zazen. You know, meditation is good, but it only goes so far because you feel relaxed, and so that's good. But to wrestle with yourself, you know, and then transform the dark into light, or transform your greed, anger, and ignorance into something greater than yourself. It's yeah. So the practice of zazen is, and I think most people when they come, they want to learn about Zen or get rid of their greed, anger, and ignorance, or become more confident. But So those are all good. So your greed, anger, and ignorance are good qualities, you know. But when we actually digest it in a way that then comes out something that's pure. So it's like I was going to say garbage disposal. Maybe that's not. But it's a ripening of all those qualities that is within yourself. So you don't have to become a different person, you know. But to understand greed, anger, and ignorance and the suffering of the world by just sitting there and not saying anything, right? Or not seeing. Oh, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body. You know, so we earlier I was talking about this. So it's actually freeing yourself from karmic condition. I mean, this is it's the practice is it's big to sit down, and that creates peace. So to like I was saying this morning, to put your hands together and feel yourself there, feel yourself on the spot. That's true peace. You know, beyond taking sides, beyond what we think is right and wrong. But it's a true peace that the practice is great, um, but we must actually uh, come back to our life in this way. So I think coming together in this way too also we inspire each other. A lot of times when we see the greed, anger, and ignorance in the world, and only see that as subject and object, then we become that. But when we practice like this together, it's the reality or the world is like this. So, anyways, that's yeah,
Nyoze,
yeah.
were you just saying that meditation and sitting zazen are two different things, or is it the same?
You could say it's the same and different. I was, you know, talking about meditation as doing something, you know, but zazen is true work, where when you do the work, then the universe, when you to get in the way, you have to get out of the way, right? And when you truly let go, but it has to happen like what Roshi was saying. It's a training to come back, and then it's a resetting, actually a recircuiting the conditioned mind to be a different way than our habitual way. So meditation is doing something, but zazen you can swing. You can do zazen. Zazen is your own style, so you can swing it. You can swing zazen around however you want to. You know, purple, red, you know, green, this way, that way. But when you strike, and it when you hit the spot, there's something that different that happens. Then your swinging is the swinging of the axe of the universe. So meditation and zazen are different, are very different, but you could call it meditation. We do something to appease the hungry ghost in ourselves, that we do something good. But then when meditation goes deeper, then we hit something that's very true and pure to the heart. So once you do that too, then we don't do zazen. Also, we don't be like Zen people, religious people. You know, you be a regular person in the regular world. Regular world is actually the enlightened society. The way you be. But since you have practiced and come back to yourself through Shugyo, continuous practice. Shugyo is continuous practice. It's not just eye practicing, but this continuous practice of getting an on the spot realization, nirvana, all your conditioned self all together at one. The more you do that, then that becomes your reference point. And you cannot help but then live this way. Boy, that's a good way to live. Yeah. So, but it's great that everyone came here today to aim, to make this aim, and yet to be realized, I think is a good one. Yet to be realized. So we have yet to realize it, and that's an infinite shugyo, is yet to realize.
And uh, and it takes a lot of sitting, you know, lots of sitting. You can't imagine how many hours of sitting it takes to gradually turn, unifying the mind. And you know how it's all done? After 10 years is just, in Soto Zen, we have to saying 10 years you have a good seat, means that you've seen your true nature. You've experienced it. But that's just once. And it doesn't mean everything is over because you're still alive. There are many more years to refine that. How many years have you got left? No one knows. But to refine that realization, and you know how you do it? By not doing anything. Meaning not thinking. That's how you do it. When you don't think, nothing's created. You are liberated. But again, yet you are yet to realize it. Or someone has to point it out. And that's why people like to sit, because they go into that spaciousness, but they don't know it. Okay? That's the unproduced, the uncreated, non-doing. Very difficult. Lots of training. Okay?
But maybe years, if you put it in years, if we put it in seconds, then there's a lot of time and there's a lot of space that everyone can do it.
Either way, seconds or years.
Either way, seconds or years. I'm being a little more kind to humanity, but it can be done when you're driving, when you're with your children, when you're at your computer. But it's a reconditioning, recalibrating, you know. And we must do. I mean, it's the only life that we have. I mean, what better thing to do than that is to live your life in this way.
If we are yet to realize it, when we finally realize it, then that disappears. That concept disappears. There's nothing to realize. Is that how, if we never get to realize something?
Yeah, you when you realize it, there's no concept, there's nothing can be there. Because it'll be again subject and object.
So we have yet to realize it. Doesn't that suggest that at some point we're going to realize it if we practice enough?
If you train and practice in the seconds or the years, you can realize it. But it takes you to be there. And like this I remember Suzuki Roshi after his talk, his Dharma talk, or his Teisho, he would say, this is just the talk, but you have to do it. And by doing it, you have to come together with people and sit. That's the most important thing. Nobody else can do it for you. It's your karma, not your parents' karma. You have to undo your own karma.
So when you sit this way, then you're doing this for also the world or the universe. So it's not necessarily saying then, oh, if I realize, then that becomes selfish. But we do it. We realize the selfish. Right. Yeah.
What do we ever?
What? Take a bit of this.
In my own experience, I feel that sitting Zazen comes back all the time, anywhere you are, any place you go, and it just happens. You can take it wherever you go. It's not just sitting on a zafu. It's you, everywhere you go, it goes with you. Yeah, I think that's an important thing to realize. You practice enough, it goes with you everywhere. It's who you are.
I think the most important thing, it goes wherever you go, but first you have to sit down. That's the most important thing. I sit for a long time. No one wants to do it for a long time anymore. But for a long time, Nyoze is a little bit more kinder. He says it can happen in a second or a minute. But I say for a very long time, lots of discipline, so lots of training. It can't happen any other way. And not just to do it by yourself, but with people and with a teacher. So we received some calligraphy from the late Master Sheng Yin, the Dharma drum, and it said some of the words was like there were 4 characters, and first one was happiness, second one was wisdom, the third one was self, Ji, and the fourth one was Zai, Ji Zai. So that struck me because in the Heart Sutra is Kan Ji Zai. Kan means Kan Ji Zai is a bodhisattva. Actually, we are all bodhisattvas, realized people, but we still don't know it yet. Okay, so Kanji Zai, it was in fact it's in the library on the door. It's a red scroll. So it says happiness, wisdom, Ji Zai, self. And Zai is a very simple Chinese word. It means, in our Cantonese doi, it means freely or at will. So the blessings means that you can create it at will. You can clarify the mind. Kan means contemplating. It also means clarifying the mind. You can do it at will with training, anywhere, anytime. Anyway, I thought that was a big one for me because we chant it every morning, Jizai, Kanjizai, you know, but it means that you were able to clarify it because you've trained so much at will, anytime, to be present anytime without thinking, to be where you are. So all these bodhisattvas, Manjusri, uh, Kanjizai, they are actual images or reflections of deep parts of yourself. They're not outside. All these realize uh, they're more than saints. Realize Buddha's knowledge is within yourself, but yet we are yet to realize it. So I guess please join us. If it's too early, to come in the evening. But this place is here for you. We've been here 50 years, and Nyoze is the new abbot now.
Same city.
Yeah,
Same city. New abbot, same city, same.
same thing, maybe a little bit different. We were looking for younger people because my generation is slowly fading. I'm 88, and all the students they're all old now, and so they don't come so much. But actually, this is the time to come because you will die. But the schedule is a monastic schedule. It's for young people like 20 or 30. But when you pass 60, we have benefits. We don't have to sit so much because our bodies can't. So does that eliminate all old people? See, this is a big mistake. But this is the time we should sit. We need to sit to prepare us for graciously finishing our life. Okay? So young people, please come, and the old people. You do it for yourself, like Gosha's father died from drinking. You do it for him. You do it for the sick. You do it for the war. Do it for the war in the mind. Not just for yourself.
And for all us older people, you can use a chair.
Oh yeah, look at, I'm sitting in a chair. Right, thank you. I left that out.
Well, why sitting? Why not standing or walking or?
It's been tried already. You stand for 4 hours. You walk for 4 hours. I mean, it's all this stuff has been tried thousands of years ago. You even lying down, people fell asleep.
See why not that, yeah.
You know, but everything's been experienced and tried already. You know, this is the way. So please join us, okay? All right. Thank you.